it's going to be a particularly good year for them, weather permitting. And so, we hope for clear skies, and from John and myself, good night and good viewing.
Hello and welcome to sunny Imola for the Formula Meme Championship. DVR enjoyed a fantastic debut last time out, finishing in 4th and 5th position respectively, and they'll be looking this time to hold the N-Team's podium charge. Meanwhile, Sam Hirani took a commanding victory in Rio last time out, and he'll be looking to assert his authority on the championship when the checkered flag falls. However, April Dillon and Lee Harrison are going to be hot on his heels, but Hirani has got the upper hand going into this race after having qualified on pole position.
Hello and welcome to round 2 of the RlyR Racing Formula Meme Championship. I'm Chad Chumley, and commentating alongside me, Tom Brooks.
Thank you very much there, Chad. Yes, Imola set to be a very, very interesting race here at San Marino, with Sam Hirani starting on pole position for the defenders. He enjoyed a very, very interesting race last time out, did the British driver, and he heads row 1 with his nearest rival, Lee Harrison, alongside him for the starting grid. Dillon in 3rd position in row 2, joined by Theo van der Brink, so the Swede with the Netherlands driver. Franklin Stegging is on row 3 with Arūnas Linkevičius, the Lithuanian, who enjoyed a quiet but very, very successful race. He starts in 6th position. Tom Bellingham in 7th. James Price-Harper is in 8th, so the offenders driver will be hoping for a better result this time around. Dan Thorne on row 5. Bjorn Golder is 10th for Germany as well, so rounding out the top 10. Neil Heatley, Campbell Wallace further down the order, so 2 Scottish drivers on row 6 here. Today, row 7, Alex Odell in the number 23 with Luke Mason in the 68 alongside him. 2 drivers who failed to finish last time out. James Lambert in the number 91. Craig Woolard is in row 8 as well for the team there. Niall O'Connell on row 9. Charlie Marriott is 10th position. And row 10 is Matt Davies with Sam Hill last on the grid once again. Sam Hill, of course, who failed to start. And finally, we've got Tom Alderton and Tom Kowalski, who also failed to finish last time around at Brazil. And this circuit's set to be very, very interesting there, Chad. 23 turns, 13 laps for these drivers to negotiate as well, over 3.1 miles.
Yes, we're not actually in San Marino. We are in Italy, but not as loved as Monza, but being in Italy, there is a massive crowd here, and the atmosphere is electric.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. It's going to be very, very interesting with that run down towards the flat-out Tamburello corner. Looking forward to seeing these drivers and cars negotiate it. Will we have carnage at turn 1 like we did last time around, where we've got the red light to come on in just a couple of seconds. As soon as it goes green, we will be underway. So Hirani on the right-hand side of your screen and Lee Harrison on the left. Lights out and away we go, and immediately, oh no, Lee Harrison spins up the rear wheels from the front row of the grid and ends up in last position. He has to wait for the prevailing field to go, but that is not the thing that Lee Harrison wanted to happen. Heading in towards turn 1 though, it is still Sam Hirani who leads the way from, who is it going to be from the Dutch Racing Veteran Squad, or is it going to be a 1-2 for the defenders? It is indeed, as they come in towards the left-hander of Villeneuve corner. Fantastic racing going on further down the order as well. We can see the 2 Independables cars locked into a battle there, as well as the Dutch Veteran Racing Squad of Theo van der Brink trying around the outside. Is Dan Thorne, a masterful move there into Aqua Minerale. Absolutely fantastic from Dan Thorne around the outside, but still the defenders lead the way, but over the curb, my goodness, contact, absolute carnage here at Imola. Lots and lots of incidents going on there. One of the power cars caught up in incident, and the Theo van der Brink of the Dutch Veteran Racing Squad as well there, Chad.
Yes, apart from Harrison's spin at the start, there was a relatively calm first couple of corners until they got to the chicane, and then all hell broke loose. Dan Thorne up from 9th on the grid to 3rd, and then throwing it all away by cutting the chicane and dropping it back down to 4th, and then a melee of cars coming together. As who's this? Have we got, is that Van der Brink down the inside of Price-Harper, perhaps?
It is indeed. Oh, goodness, no, Luke Mason caught up in some strife there. Luke Mason, I think, who was the cause of Bellingham's demise in the last race as well. And oh, Price-Harper into the barrier as well. My goodness gracious me. Lots and lots of incidents on circuit here. Let's have a look from Price-Harper's perspective there. So it was Luke Mason recovering from a spin, straight back onto the track, into the path of the oncoming cars. Stegging and Price-Harper once again having nowhere to go. I think Mason should really know better than that by now.
Yes, once again some poor form from some back markers, but then again the drivers have had far less practice at this circuit than they did at Hakarapagua, so perhaps it's inevitable that we're seeing more incidents.
Yes, indeed. Lambert now trying to fight for the top 10 against Bjorn Golder. Will he be able to get the move done into Villeneuve Curve? No way through there, as well as Lee Harrison, who has actually benefited massively from all of that incident going on in the latter part of the lap. And he's got himself up into 12th position from last after the starting melee that he was involved in, and is now up into 12th, so he's on potentially for a good points pay position. But Franklin Stegging and Luke Mason trying to defend the corner there. My goodness, Stegging, two cars going into one at that chicane, never going to work it was as well, and Stegging very lucky to lose just positions and not a front wing or some more body work as well.
Yes, Stegging can take evasive action over the curbs, but luckily the curbs here are a bit more forgiving, unlike Hakarapagua, so while it's not necessarily quicker to use them, you can get away with it in an emergency.
Yes, indeed, heading down in towards the final part of the lap over the chicane, but it is Sam Harani who leads the way from Dylan. So, defenders 1-2 here at the circuit of Imola. Fantastic battles going on throughout the field, and the Dutch veteran racing car of Theo van der Brink sitting there quite comfortably in 3rd position for the number 51 through the Tamburello corner there. Dan Thorne in a brilliant 4th place for the Independables. He's having a very good run in is the 802.
Yes, he was very quick here in the practice sessions, but whether or not he can translate that into a race is another thing. He's not always been able to do that, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep up this pace here.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to seeing how he will be able to fare. I absolutely love this part of the lap as it cascades down as the cars come in towards in towards the chicane, I should say, rather, the Variante Alta, and over the curbs quite aggressively there was Sam Harani. I think he just misjudged his braking points ever so slightly, judging how much he is pushing in towards that corner there. But absolutely brilliant driving out in front from the two defenders drivers to be able to gap 3rd position and just absolutely romp away out in front. And Harani, this is exactly what he needs, Chad, to be able to retain his championship lead.
Yes, absolutely. They're already coming into some back markers, I suppose. Being out in front, they will be completely unaware of the absolute carnage that's gone on behind them, so they'll already be coming across people who have had damage and had to pit and are already well behind the field.
Yes, indeed, the final corner on the circuit they go, the Variante Bassa. What a great chicane that is. You can really line up and overtake if you can get the right exit out of turn 15 of Rivazza. In towards Tamburello corner once again, and Dylan just negotiating one of the back markers there. Getting things done and dusted against the PSP Motorsports car of Niall O'Connell. Further down the order, we can see Craig Woolard there, who's sitting in 10th position for the number 86. He's got James Price-Harper for company. Price-Harper, of course, who was subject of an incident on lap 1 and gets himself up into 10th position, does Lee Harrison. Fantastic. So the teammate to Price-Harper up ahead of the car of Craig Woolard, I believe it is, in the Eiffel Power Motorsports car. So fantastic bit of overtaking. In fact, no, it is indeed Craig Woolard, the number 86. So great bit of overtaking there from Lee Harrison to get himself up into that position, but still quite far away from the points nonetheless, Chad.
Yes, absolutely. In the end team's battle, it seems that the defenders are having a much better time of it than the offenders. There's no doubt that the pace between the 4 drivers is very similar, but it's funny how one team is faring so much better than the other.
Here's Cam Wallace, who's having a good run in towards the Variante Alta. He goes. Great chicane there. As we've seen, 2 into 1 doesn't generally work, but if you're very, very careful and very kind to your rival, you can just about hold on. Nice Laserdisc sponsorship on the rear wing for the Kaibitsu driver as well. Laserdiscs, of course, all the rage at the moment.
Yes, his car's sparking as well. You could always say it's sparking lasers. I wonder if that's a sponsorship agreement to have his car set up like that.
We'll wait and see. Lee Harrison under threat, or threatening rather, I should say, Bjorn Golder, and in towards that chicane where I said 2 into 1 doesn't go. It certainly does if you're Lee Harrison and Bjorn Golder. But nonetheless, the driver's doing a fantastic job, none the more so than Sam Harani, the number 9, who is leading the way behind that bright orange Defender's car from his teammate April Dillon, from Franklin Steggink, from Theo van der Brink, I should say, in 3rd position for the Dutch veteran racing squad. And having a very good run in this race so far, but going very, very deep over the curbs there, Chad, and that's going to have lost him a little bit of time compared to his teammate.
Yes, absolutely. The gaps between these front three very static at the moment. I wonder if they've got tyres in the back of their mind after the first race, where they different cars seem to have different performance at different stages of the race. I wonder if they're all saving it for the end.
Be very, very interesting to see how they're going. There is the Golf liveried car of Tom Alderton of Team Atom. We haven't really seen him feature so far in the championship, but he's just getting himself ahead of the two-tone racing car of Luke Mason. Mason, of course, who was caught up in some strife on lap 1, has had a bit of a dog of a start to the Formula Meme Championship, unfortunately, and is continuing now as well. I apologise, it wasn't Luke Mason, it was Charlie Marriott in the 147, straight into the barrier at the Villeneuve curve, and that's going to have lost him a heap of time as well. So he is going to be right down the order. He was already sitting in about 15th position, and that's not going to help his cause to get back up into the points. But Dillon versus Harani going through Tamburello corner and heading down in towards the right, and then the left-hander they will go of Villeneuve. Who's it going to be? Well, it's going to be so close, but it is indeed Harani who just remains on top here at Imola, and we've got Dillon trying to challenge around the outside as they come up the hill, side-by-side racing between the two Defenders cars, and up the inside goes Dillon, so takes the lead of the race here at Imola. In towards Acqua Minerale they will come in just a couple of moments' time, but still a fantastic battle going on here at the moment, Chad, between the top two.
Yes, you have to wonder if Harani made an error that was unseen on camera, because he was a fair way ahead of Dillon until we cut to them, and then all of a sudden she was all over the back of him.
Yes, indeed. So through the Varianti outer they come, and down the hill, heading towards Rivazza, turn 13, turn 14, and turn 15. It's such a godly part of the lap that there's Tom Bellingham still sitting in 7th place, so he hasn't really moved off of his starting position, but he can see Campbell Wallace in his sights now. Through that chicane they go once again. He's got a few more laps to be able to try and make it up to Campbell Wallace to reduce that deficit and get himself into a prime points position. He is in within a good shout of doing so, given his pace on the last few laps, is Bellingham. And the back markers, though, are certainly not going to help him, as one of the Eiffel Power the PSP Motorsports car of Matt Davies spins coming out of Rivazza, and almost a half spin off the infield to the lap goes Tom Bellingham, and he's going to have lost a little bit of time. Oh, does he actually? He has lost a little bit of time compared to Campbell Wallace, despite that incident. So going in towards Tamburello, he's got a little bit more ground to make up than he did this time around, last time around I should say rather. But yes, these turbo-powered cars certainly being a handful for the drivers there, Chad.
Yes, he just took a little bit too much curb on the way into that double chicane. It's quite fast, the entry to it, but he recognised that he was making an error and just decided to cut his losses and go across the grass. It cost him down the straight through Tamburello, but better than being in the wall with no wing.
Yes, indeed. There's Campbell Wallace just going through the left-hander and down the hill into the right-hander of Piratella, and then into Acqua Minerale. Over the grass then goes the Independables car, trying to negotiate back markers any which way he can is Tom Bellingham. The back marker's doing a terrible job, I must say, of getting out of the way of the prevailing traffic. There are blue flags on circuit, we can see them, so drivers need to be a bit more aware, those back markers need to be a little bit more aware that there is going to be traffic coming through at some point in this race. But it is still Dillon who's actually there, Chad, got a little bit more of a gap to Sam Harani now as well, so Dillon could be well within a shot of taking the fight to the front of this championship.
Yes, absolutely. Perhaps she was saving her tyres a bit more in those early laps and is now making the most of them to pull away. Van den Brink's not too far behind either, running in a close third, so he could snatch another position or two if anything goes awry for the two Defenders drivers.
Well, anything can happen in motor racing, and it usually does. Les Linkevicius sitting in a brilliant fourth place, actually. We didn't realise how high up the Lithuanian driver was, just coming up to the back marker of his teammate, actually, of James Lambert. But yes, Linkevicius having a very good but very quiet run in this race so far. And sitting in a nice position in the championship is Linkevicius, following round one, all the way down in 6th position. So we'll have to wait and see whether she can take the fight furthermore into the championship charge. There's Dan Thorne in the 802 for the Independables. Not too far behind is Cameron Wallace and Dan Thorne's teammate of Tom Bellingham. So a bit of an Independable sandwich there for the Kaibitsu car to defend, and goes a little bit deep. Does the number 64 of Cameron Wallace, just defends his position by going over the grass, did Tom Bellingham. Into the Variante outer chicane they go, the left and then the right-hander, and again deep for Cameron Wallace. Surely that's going to allow a very good run. Indeed it does for Tom Bellingham. Will he be able to get the drive though as they come in towards turn 13, 14 and 15 of Ravazza? He's going to be eyeing up a move up the inside. He's going to think about it. A Bellingham lunge. It's his signature move, but he goes too deep. Oh, he's overcooked it as Tom Bellingham. My goodness, what a shame there for the number 33, and he's lost now a position to James Price-Harper, the number 78 as well there, Chad.
Yes, another trademark attempt at a lunge, but better to see a driver go for it and fail than just sit behind him in my book. Mind you, Bellingham spent more time on the grass than the tarmac. I wonder if he should try rallycross.
I think he'd be quite good at it, actually. You never know how he might fare with the number 33. He's now immediately coming right up to the back of James Price-Harper, around the outside into Tamburello. We've seen this move done a couple of times before in this race, but Price-Harper valiantly defending his line. Look at the closing speed, over 200 miles an hour through that corner. Opts for the outside line, heading in towards the Villeneuve curve. He's going to be thinking about it. Up the inside is Bellingham, and a beautiful overtake there from the number 33, but Price-Harper immediately fighting back. Side by side, out of the final corner they go. So Bellingham versus Price-Harper up the hill, in towards Acqua Minerale in just a couple of moments' time, through Piratella, and then down it the hill, in towards Acqua Minerale they will go. But it is Price-Harper who's just on top, ahead of Tom Bellingham, and this isn't even for the points there, Chad.
Yes, once again, similar as
Wallace
ahead is that Campbell Wallace. Oh, what a pity. He was running very well in 5th position. The spin, that's dropped him out of the points.
So there we are. This is now a battle for the points position. So it's not actually, I apologise. So Price-Harper sitting in 7th and Bellingham in 8th position. So Wallace down into 9th place, unfortunately, for the Kaibitsu driver. Will we see another signature overtake from Tom Bellingham? Be very, very interesting to see where he thinks about his move. We saw outside of Tamburello was an option, but the offenders having a bit of a dog of this race so far, despite running in those positions. They're not in the points, so we've got Price-Harper, who is just ahead of... oh dear, I'll come back to that in just a couple of moments, because Price-Harper got a big tank slapper on, coming out of the final corner, a bit too heavy with the old right foot. The turbo kicks in, and he immediately went to the inside of the track, and that has allowed a fantastic run from Tom Bellingham. They're going to avoid the car. My goodness gracious me, that must be Luke Mason there.
Wow, I've never seen a car crash at Tamburello before, but that was incredibly lucky for Bellingham and Price-Harper, coming round the corner blind, side by side, went either side of them, and somehow no one's hurt. Oh, we're going to see a replay of it here, Tom.
Look at this, Luke Mason, either side. That was just breathtaking. What reactions from the drivers, first of all. Commendments to them for that. I've never seen a car go off at Tamburello before, and it's quite unusual to have a very serious accident there, because it's quite a flat-out sort of corner. Must be some...
You have to do anything there. It's just stick your foot to the floor and go. Something awful has to happen for you to go off there, so I'd be interested to know what happened to Mason.
It could be a steering column failure. We've seen it before with these cars, and going off to the outside of the final chicane, I think there was Charlie Marriott. So the two-tone racing guys having a bit of a dog in this race so far. He managed to recover it without too much damage, but we've still got a battle for the lead going on between the 314 of April Dillon and the number 9 of Sam Harani. Trying up the inside is Sam Harani as they come down towards the Villeneuve curve. He's got the outside line for that corner, but he's got the position, has the number 9. A fantastic overtake there from Sam Harani of the defenders, but The 314 of Dillon is not going to take it lying down. Into the left-hander they go, trying out the inside, but Harani just defends his line very valiantly indeed as they come down towards the left-hander and then the right of Aquaminarali. This chicane, so difficult to be able to negotiate it. Very much one at a time through there, but Harani then has got the whole shot ahead of Dillon.
Yes, absolutely. Once again, we're seeing drivers being fast at different stages of the race, and when Dillon came past Harani earlier on, Harani didn't look flustered. He just stuck to his strategy, and now it's paid off as he's now the quicker driver and is pulling away.
Yes, indeed, coming down towards Ravazza they go, and has got a bit of an advantage, has Harani, but we've seen him making a few uncharacteristic mistakes during this race, so he'll have to be very careful to hold his bottle together. We can see Tom Bellingham there in 7th position, Price-Harper in 8th, and I think they're coming up to the back marker of James Lambert. Indeed they are, so they're going to have to be careful to negotiate here. We've seen the back markers be a bit troublesome throughout this race. It's quite a narrow circuit, so they are allowed a little bit of leeway, but unfortunately they have been a little bit difficult in allowing the drivers to get past. Price-Harper trying out the inside of Tom Bellingham, so Bellingham really under pressure now from the two offenders' cars. Into the final part of the lap they go, and he's going to have to be all over the defensive lines is Tom Bellingham. Price-Harper meanwhile is going to be trying any which way he can. Will he be able to take the back marker to his advantage through the final corner? They go over the curb, goes Tom Bellingham a bit too deep into there, but still remaining ahead. So Price-Harper holding on to the position, but trying up the inside in towards Tamburello. That's going to be a fantastic overtake if he can get it done. Up the inside through the flat out corner, 200 miles an hour. Look at that. My goodness, I really didn't think that Tom Bellingham would be able to hold on to that. But onto the grass goes Price-Harper and off of the Villeneuve curve. I've never seen a car go off. Oh no, into the barrier, and he's lost the rear wing. Price-Harper is out of this race. Tom Bellingham just gets going again with minimal damage, but I've never seen a car go off at the Villeneuve curve. Something very unusual has to happen there, and it was just too much eagerness. But Price-Harper then, Dan, is going to be out of this race and all over the circuit as well.
Oh dear, we've seen some brilliant racing between these two. Been some very unlikely places, but when you dance like that at that sort of high speed, something's bound to go wrong eventually. Excuse me.
Yes, indeed. Will Price-Harper just crawl to the finish of this race, or will he do the correct thing and pull over? We can see sparks flying off the front suspension, and indeed he is out. So Price-Harper will go no further in this race. Let's have a look at the incident then. He was on the grass at this point. We saw him, nowhere for Bellingham to go. He was completely innocent in that move. So just a very uncharacteristic mistake from Price-Harper, the RlyR racing champion in the British SP Cup. These cars very difficult animals, and very different animals to drive compared to the cars we've been used to as of late in RlyR racing. And Price-Harper just caught out, nowhere for him to go on the grass, and no retardancy on the braking either, so he just didn't slow down and went careering into the side of Bellingham. Bellingham lucky not to escape with any more damage than he did so.
Yes, Bellingham was lucky that Price-Harper's car didn't ride over the cockpit of him and end up breaking his neck or something awful like that. But back at the front here, we've got the two defenders' cars still close together. It looks like Dillon's getting ready to mount a counter-attack on Harani.
Yeah, trying down in towards the Aquaminarali corner, and then they'll go into the Variante Alta. Coming towards these latter stages of this race, there's only got to be a couple of laps left of racing, so he's going to have to think about it sooner rather than later is the 314. But nonetheless, it has been a fantastic scrap between the top two, and indeed lots of battles going on through the field as well. But the defenders having a very good run, and a 1-2 finish is exactly what they would need for the Constructors' Championship throughout this Formula Mini Championship. But very deep over the final chicane was Sam Harani, and he's going to have lost a little bit of time as they come on towards the final lap compared to April Dillon, and he has indeed lost a little bit of time. The gap now down to around about half a second or so. Through Tamburello they go, and heading...
Yes, I wonder if Harani's got some sort of problem, because his car seems to be moving about very erratically.
It could be a point of contact that we haven't seen on track. We did see him caught up with a bit of traffic earlier on, so maybe he had a bit of a minor coming together. We did see some earlier contact, so maybe he has got some suspension damage behind the wheel of that car, which would make sense compared to how he is going about on the track. If he is carrying a problem, though, he is doing a masterful job of holding on and defending his position. It's such a narrow circuit, the San Marino track, and very deep on the brakes and locking right up there was Dylan, and she's going to have lost all the advantage that she gained on her teammate, and surely now the race is Sam Hirani's to lose.
Yes, it was looking very close there, but Dylan just misjudged the braking under entrance for the chicane and ran a bit deep to avoid her teammate. And that looks like it could be it now, unless Hirani has got a problem, in which case, and it looks like she's catching up very quickly coming into the final few corners.
In towards Rabat, so they go for the final time, trying all over the back, and they've got a back marker in the way now as well. The Team Atom car of Tom Alderton. She's going to really be thinking about it. He's going to be side by side, almost about over the final corner. They're banging wheels. This is fantastic. In towards the final part of the lap, into the final chicane they go. It's Hirani who leads the way from April Dillon. She thinks about it, but it is going to be Sam Hirani. Surely he'll rain out on top. It's going to be tenths of a second, hundredths of a second as they come across the line, but it is Sam Hirani who claims the victory here at the circuit of San Marino. Dylan just settles for second best, and Theo van der Brink holds on very valiantly for a well-deserved third position. And look at the gap there, Chad. 500ths of a second.
What a finish, and people say Grand Prix racing is boring these days.
Just incredible. Linkevicius holds on to a very well-deserved fourth place. Credit to Dan Thorne for getting a fantastic fifth position as well. Lee Harrison was sixth, rounding out the points. Tom Bellingham failed to score at this one. He will finish in seventh position. Campbell Wallace was 46 seconds behind in eighth. Bjorn Golder was ninth. Neil Heatley rounded out the top 10. Niall O'Connell was just outside of there in 11th, the first of the lapped runners. Tom Alderton there, who we saw with a couple of dramas in the final corner, was 12th in the Team Atom Golf livery car. Lambert was 13th, Tom Kowalski was 14th, Matt Davies down the order in 16th as well. Craig Willard was 15th just in front.
Yes, looks like we're seeing a few more finishes here this time, as Sam Hill was 17th, and then Price-Harper, Odell and Mason failing to finish. We saw what happened to Price-Harper and Mason, not sure what happened to Odell. But as the drivers and teams get a handle on these cars, it looks like they're able to get them to the finish more consistently.
Yeah, Charlie Marriott, Franklin Stegging also failing to finish. We didn't see what happened to Stegging as well, so we'll have to wait and find out exactly what it was that caused his retirement. But what is this going to mean for the championship? Another 9 points on the board for Sam Hirani. He's really going to be carrying the momentum towards round 3. So 2 wins from 2 races for Hirani, and you can see him out there in front on 18 points. Dylan is in second on 10. Lee Harrison and Theo van der Brink are interlocked on 7 points for third position. Linkevicius is 5th on 5. Franklin Stegging and Dan Thorne, with that fantastic result here today, are interlocked and equal on points in 6th place as well.
Yes, we thought it might be quite a close championship, but it looks like the defenders are the only two getting a real handle on performing in these cars consistently, and it's looking like Hirani would have to have a very bad race for him to lose this championship, with half the season gone and half still to go.
Yes, indeed. Well, anything can happen in motor racing, and it usually does. So we'll have to wait and see how things go as we head over to the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal in Quebec, Canada, for the next race of the Formula Meme Championship. Really looking forward to seeing how things go there. Will Sam Hirani be victorious? Will he get 3 out of 3 in Formula Meme? Or will Dylan be able to take the fight to the front? Or will we see the likes of James Price-Harper making a resurgence in the later stages of this championship?